Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Troy Jones here with Blazers Uprise. I'm with my man Eric Brandt.
Hello.
We're actually about to pre-record our very first podcast, but since I was here with him, I decided why not bring him onto a Monday mailbag?
I love Monday mailbag. I love answering questions and interacting with people's comments and stuff like that, so this will be fun.
Yeah, so I might try and get him, and when he can't do it, I might try and get another one of our podcast hosts onto these Monday mailbags so you can have a couple different people answering your questions. So since we're going back to weekly Monday mailbags, you can leave your questions in the comment section below and I'll answer them on next week's video. So me and Eric, we're going to give both our opinions on all these questions that you guys had for us. So we're going to hop into our very first question, which is from Twitter. It's from my guy Sean. He's asked a lot of questions for the entire time that I've been doing these mailbags. You guys might know him as Embarking Box. And before I say the question, make sure to follow me and Eric on Twitter. I'm at ToryJonesYT. He's at HoopsJock. So with that being said, Sean's question is, what defensive adjustments would you like to see Stotts change for this upcoming season? Also, what are your thoughts on adding Gennaro Pargo to the coaching staff? So first, we're going to answer the question about the defensive adjustments. So I'm going to let you start off with that one.
My thing that's always bugged me about Stotts with defensive adjustments is he has his philosophies on defense, and he uses them every game, no matter what the opponent is, no matter what the situation is. It's almost always the same pick and roll philosophies, when to hedge and all that stuff, which he hardly ever does. I think one defensive strategy, even if it's the best strategy there is, it never works every game in every situation, especially when you get to the playoffs. Teams adjust to that. If you're running a pick and roll defense every time, and the offensive team knows exactly what the defense is going to do on that pick and roll when they run it,
it's very easy to game plan for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Way too easy.
Me and Eric have the same kind of opinions on Stotts as a coach. As a lot of you guys probably know, I'm not the highest on Stotts. I'm not as high as your average Blazer fan. And to what Eric was saying is, the defense isn't as situational as I'd like it. You know, sometimes the way Terry Stotts guards pick and rolls, sometimes that's the best way to guard pick and rolls against a certain player.
There was a couple examples. So I recall a game against the Grizzlies last year where Conley was just going off, and you just run pick and roll every play, score, every play, jumper, wide open. And we just let him do it the whole 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Didn't even make an adjustment, try to do something different, double team him, switch or something. We just let him have a wide open shot off the pick. And then also against the Warriors, we've run the whole defense the entire year the same way. We get to the Warriors series and it wasn't working at all. In fact, we decided not to guard the best shooter in league history for the first game, which is still perplexing. In the middle of the series, they actually did change, and they started adjusting how they covered the pick and roll against them.
Game 2. Yeah, game 2, they made that defensive adjustment. Their defense was much better in that first half. They got off to that 17, 18-point lead.
Yeah.
And then we ended up turning the ball over a lot, which helped them get back into the game. There was a lot of transition basketball, which is hard to guard, especially a team like that. But overall, the way we were guarding pick and rolls, we actually adjusted when it came to game 2, and our defense was much better.
Yeah, but the issue became the players hadn't done that all year.
Yeah.
So they're thrown in the Western Conference Finals trying to play a defense that they haven't played the entire season. And the rotations on the backside were just a step too slow, and it was leading to wide open dunks and lay-ins towards the end of the game once the Warriors got used to it. And that's why I'm saying you have to mix it up. Throughout the game, you have to do different stuff.
Yeah,
mix it up.
It helps keeps the offense off balance. If you're a ball handler coming off a screen and you know exactly how you're going to be guarded, you're going to know exactly what type of reads you're going to need to make after you come off the screen. If you come off the screen and you don't 100% know how the defense is going to guard you, you're going to be a little bit more off balance, and you're not going to be able to make those reads as quickly. The defense is going to be more effective. So to answer your question, what defensive adjustments would I like to see and what Eric would like to see is, honestly, just during the regular season, switch things up. Not only to keep offenses off balance, but sometimes when you don't have a good three-point shooter, go under the screen and let him pull up from behind the screen from 3. A guy like Rajon Rondo, you don't have to chase him over a screen to run him off a three-point line because he's not a three-point shooter. So the defensive adjustment that we would like to see is just a wider variety of defensive coverages. So on to the second part of your question. What are your thoughts on adding Gennaro Pargo to the coaching staff? I'll let you start with that one as well.
It's hard to tell what the loss of Vanderpool will end up being for the coaching staff. As far as I know, he's really good player coach. Was a guard whisperer, some people
Oh, yeah.
called him.
Yep. He was always in Dames here.
So I'm hoping Gennaro can fill that role. Honestly, though, he's coaching the G League. Coached seemingly well there, but I don't really know anything about him enough as a coach.
Yeah.
Former players are always kind of, it can go either way. They could be really good or really bad.
I mean, Steve Kerr didn't have any coaching experience, and he turned that Golden State offense into an innovative offense. Like, it was the type of offense that we hadn't really seen before. And he ended up becoming a great coach right off the bat without any prior experience. But there's also other coaches which have a lot of, college experience, and they get to the NBA, and they have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
Billy Donovan for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That dude does not know what he's doing. So he could be good. He might not be good. I don't know enough about him. I haven't seen him enough as a coach to be able to have any sort of opinion on him.
I think it's important to note that I think just a slight change in the coaching staff is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Just get a fresh set of eyes in
Oh,
there.
yeah. Fresh voice in that locker room.
Because it had been the same coaching staff for several years, at least the main coaches. Bottom line is it'll be good to have a former player in that locker room helping the guys out, and I don't think it'll be a negative thing at all.
So Ryan Birchfield says, where do you usually watch the games? I wouldn't mind catching a game with you, brother. So I'd usually watch it at my house, just in my living room, like probably the majority of Blazer fans do. I don't go to bars to watch games. I like watching them at home, especially by myself, because I'm the type that'll talk to the players through the TV, which is kind of crazy when you sit back and think about it, but we're crazy for the Portland Trailblazers, so that's what happens. As far as you catching a game with me or with us, it would be really cool to do like a monthly watch party for some of you guys in the future, but the logistics of that is tough. The money side of that is tough. So hopefully we're able to do something like that sometime this year where some of you guys can come out and watch a game with us and meet us. But I'm not going to make any promises because that's a tough thing to do. So where do you usually watch games?
Usually right here in my house.
Same.
Yeah. I used to get really violent when I watched games.
Violent?
Punching stuff. So I tend not to watch games with people, but I do love getting together with friends and stuff and watching games. So it'd be cool to check out games with anyone who's a Blazer fan. It's fun, especially like if you're watching a game like when Dame hits the shot against OKC and everyone's going crazy.
Oh, I know.
Hugging each
you
other.
just can't punch any of my subscribers in the face.
Okay. I don't punch people.
Okay.
Not violent, just like, I have a dent in my fridge from when...
You sure you want to share this?
This isn't Blazer related, but I have a dent in my fridge from when the Saints scored a touchdown against the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, we're Niners fans. Don't hate us. I know a lot of you might be Seahawks fans, but...
It turns out that Alex Smith led us back down the field and we scored at the end to beat the Saints in that game, but I was so pissed because there was like a
Jimmy
minute
Graham
or two.
had that like 80-yard touchdown.
There was like a minute or two left when the Saints scored, and I thought it was over, and I was so mad.
Yeah, I remember that.
Kicked a hole through the wall when Scottie Pippen hit a 3 against Utah back in 2000.
see, me and him are very, very competitive. Just based off like playing some pickup basketball with him, like I'm a super competitive person too. So watching games, it's like I have a competitive mindset, and I'm sure you have the same thing. Like it almost is like the same type of, I wouldn't necessarily call it like adrenaline rush, but it's almost like the same kind of feeling watching a game for me compared to when I'm playing. Mm-hmm. I hate losing, probably more than I like winning. So yeah, I kind of have the same type of stuff. I haven't dented any fridges. I haven't.
Help.
Thanks.
We need help?
No, I need help.
He needs help.
No, it's beautiful. What do you mean? My sister and mom are the same way. Like, why you get so mad? Because like my mom and my sister were there when I was watching Game 7. It was so like I held it in. You know what I mean? But like
I was at work for Game 7, and I met my mom at a Round Table Pizza down the road, and we were just screaming at this TV, and like people were just looking at us like, what are these people doing? And then by the end of the game, like there was other people like standing there watching it too. So yeah, if we ever get a chance to meet you guys and hang out in the community and watch some games, it'd be great.
Yep. We'll We'll have to make you take like some Xanax so you can chill out. But
I'm not really that bad. It's just
no, I got you.
you know how important playoff games are.
So if any of you are like that, don't be ashamed. You gotta, let your emotions fly.
In 2000, I had a girlfriend watch the Lakers meltdown with me.
Oh, was she your girlfriend after that?
She was like, I'm never watching a sporting event with you kids. I was here alone for the Game 5 Dame shot versus OKC, and I was just jumping all around yelling. Everyone else was sleeping, and that would have been fun to have you guys
sleeping.
there with me or something. Like hug and high five and all that stuff. The Dame Houston shot.
I was there for that one, so
Oh, nice.
that was awesome.
Yeah, I remember you were at that game. That must have been one of the best games to be
that
at.
was the loudest thing I've heard in my life.
I cleared. It was a different couch at the time, but I completely jumped over the couch, celebrating the Dame shot.
You jumped?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe. Back when I was younger, I had legs, calf muscles. I don't anymore. But.
We gotta get this man off the ground again. He's actually rocking a cast right now. So hopefully his vertical is better than the 5 inches it was at Rip City 3-on-3.
It's not really much better, but at least it'll.
Yeah, because he was hurting. He was still beasting up in the paint. But Kyle Campbell says, "Do you think CJ could become an All-Star this year?" I actually already answered this question, I believe, in my last mailbag, but you, of course, weren't there for that, so I'll just let you answer this question.
I still think it's going to be tough. Obviously, Klay Thompson won't be there this year, but there's a lot of talent in the West.
Yeah, one of the things I noted is that you could easily have Kawhi Leonard or Paul George being considered a guard.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how they arrange their lineup and how eligible they are at different positions.
Because I'm expecting them to go with Pat Beverly, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Maurice Harkless, and that Zubac guy. Yeah. I always butcher his first name. But in that scenario, one of Kawhi or Paul George would have to be the guard because Maurice Harkless certainly is not going to be listed as the guard.
Well, even if JaMychal Green starts,
he's another power forward.
It's most likely Paul George would be the shooting guard.
So then CJ is going to have to compete against Paul George for All-Star votes when before Paul George would have been considered in the front court. So while Klay Thompson, CJ won't have to compete against him. And now you're going to have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard replacing him, who's definitely going to get in ahead of him. But then again, Paul George is out for the first month of the season.
True. Yeah.
So who knows?
And the NBA usually, before the voting starts, clarifies what position they're eligible for. So that could determine whether he has a lot of competition or just a little bit. But, I mean, the West is still tough. And you got guys like Donovan Mitchell, who doesn't have to be in the shadow of Dame at the guard position on his own team.
Yeah.
And he has the ball in his hand. I'm not saying he'll be there, but I guess they have Conley now, too. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, but Mitchell's
all-star snub.
Mitchell, he's already put up the raw scoring numbers.
Right.
If he becomes more efficient, not only will he score more points, but his scoring will look a lot better. He'll be getting 25 points per game, and he's not super inefficient right now. So, I mean... If they're just as good as Portland, I think Mitchell would have to get the nod over McCollum. It's going to be really tough for CJ. I think if Portland's in the top 2, maybe the top 3, then he'll almost have to get voted on if he's putting up 22, 23 a game.
So what's interesting is a lot of times it's a year prior, even though it's only supposed to be for this upcoming season. So you have to factor in the success he had in the playoffs, obviously the huge Game 7 performance against Denver. That earns you votes in the future when people start thinking about who they're going to vote for, who the best players are. Him and Dave will never be voted as a starter, but he has an outside chance of making it. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's better than 50%, but
I put it about 25 to 30%.
But you are right that they do need to have a good record and be one of the top seeds in the West.
But that's what's really tough too. Is our early season schedule is a lot harder than our after All-Star break schedule. Yep. So it's going to be really hard for us to be a top 2 or 3 team in the West.
That does give them an opportunity, though, because if the Blazers do have a good record after that tough schedule, it's going to be even more impressive, and it will probably be because CJ is balling out.
True.
So he has an outside chance of making it. I still don't think Portland will get enough love to have
Yeah, I mean, we
2 All-Stars, but
we couldn't get Dame in the All-Star game a couple
he-
years
he
ago, and
barely
that's
got
Dame.
in a
So
few times on
Yeah.
commissioner exceptions and stuff
Yeah.
or whatever, or injured player exceptions.
honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. Hassan Whiteside might have just as good of a chance as CJ McCollum if Hassan Whiteside is able to play more than 30 points per game, because Hassan Whiteside is going to
30
get
minutes.
the best looks of his career playing off of Dame and CJ, and if he's able to put up like 19 a game with 14, 15 rebounds and like 2.5 blocks, the front court has a lot less competition, especially if Paul George gets bumped down to shooting guard. Honestly, we might see Hassan Whiteside in the All-Star game before CJ McCollum.
Yeah, I mean, the defense would have to be probably top 5 in the West.
we'd
or in the
have to
NBA.
we'd have to have a really good record as well, but
And yeah, he just has to be killing it on the boards
Yeah.
and scoring probably in the mid-teens, at least 15, 16 points a game with 12 rebounds. That might be enough to get him in, yeah.
yeah, man, it'd be awesome to have Hassan Whiteside as the third All-Star behind Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons. Nah, I wish. Noah Kirkpatrick says, why do we hate Raymond Felton? I don't know if you knew that I had a video that's going to drop in the future about Raymond Felton. I can't remember if I teased it in one of my videos. I wanted to have it out by now, but yeah, I'm putting together a script for a video about why exactly Blazer fans hate Raymond Felton. And that video will actually be done by my guy Courtside Reports. He's going to be hosting our daily NBA Scoop show, but he wanted to do this video. I'm providing him a script, so that video should be out shortly. I know I say that about a lot of videos that aren't out all that shortly, but I'm really trying to ramp up the content now that we got this content announcement out and all that. So stay tuned for a video about why we hate Raymond Felton. Tommy Thompson says, Olshey is famous for picking up guys who had potential and ended up being busts, but somewhat renewed themselves in Portland. What's your opinion on Bruno Caboclo? He's probably got more upside than Hazonia and plays better defense. I know we got a lot of wings, but he could end up being a sleeper for most improved next season. His G League stats are pretty impressive. Anyways, I'm done. Thanks again for all you do for Blazer fans. I appreciate the kind words. I've always been a fan of Bruno Caboclo, but I wasn't really a fan of him because he was any good, in my opinion. What was the quote?
Well, Frank Fischel said he was the Brazilian Kevin Durant,
Yeah.
but that he was 2 years away from being 2 years
Yeah,
away.
that was the classic one. 2
And
years
that was
away
what,
from
like
being
6 years ago now?
Yeah, so I
5
think
or
he's
6
still
years.
2 years away. So in actuality, he was 4 years from being 4 years away.
Yeah.
He's still only like 23, 24 years old.
For me, Bruno has had a few chances. He's gotten a few 10-day contracts. I think a couple years he finished with the Kings. Last year he played with
Memphis.
Memphis.
He actually played pretty well for Memphis. I can look at the stats right now.
Too. For some reason, it hasn't clicked in the NBA yet. It still could. And there might be a point in the season where we need defenders against guys like George and Kawhi and things like that. But I just don't see a spot for him on the roster right now.
Yeah, if we were rebuilding or retooling like we were after Aldridge left, I would be all over Bruno Caboclo, but we're at the point where we're trying to contend. That's the basis for me not liking the Hazonia pickup and him playing the rotation. It might pan out. I'm not saying Hazonia isn't going to break out for us. Just when we're trying to take the next step and make an NBA Finals, I don't like relying on players who haven't done much in their NBA career to break out into the rotation. And it's not like Hazonia or Bruno Caboclo is like an Anthony Simons who hasn't had a chance yet and has a ton of talent. Like, they've had chances and they haven't really done anything with them. So I just don't really like going after players like that at this point. But it can be rewarding.
Yeah, one thing I always think about too is in Stott's offense, you want shooters.
Yeah.
You don't want the Evan Turner type
Yeah.
wings that can't shoot.
Hey, Bruno shot 37% from three last season on almost 4 attempts a game in 34 games.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a lot better than I thought.
Yeah.
But before that, it wasn't good, was it?
Before that, just really small sample size.
size, yeah.
I mean, like, he might be a decent enough shooter, but he's just not proven.
Right.
You know? And that's for every part of his game. He's not proven yet.
I just don't know if on this team, a guy who's good at defense but not very good on offense is the right fit.
Yeah.
It could be, and Bruno could be great on offense, but I don't really want another Amino type.
Yeah.
I don't really want another Aminu type on there.
You said Amino.
I said it like Reggie Miller
You said it
first
like
time.
Mike. Didn't Mike Rice used to say Amino?
Something like
Or no,
that.
that's
It's Reggie Miller that says it all the time now.
There's another guy that says amino acid.
Is it Isaiah Thomas or something?
Dame Dallas says, I have 2 questions. Do you think Dame can beat out Drexler as the best Blazer of all time? And do you think Gary Trent Jr. is going to get any opportunities this season? So we're going to start off with the possibility of Dame becoming the best Blazer of all time. And I'm going to let you answer that first.
He's definitely top 3 right now, I'd say.
I'd say he's top 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's questionable whether you want to say Walton. And it's always hard to judge longevity versus
Walton just
winning the prize.
he won it, but
he was the MVP of the league and won the championship. That's pretty tough to beat.
But that was more of a flash in the pan.
Right.
Like a guy who's like the thing is, I value off the court stuff too. So like a guy who's like a staple of the community who sets the culture for his basically entire career.
But that's what knocks Drexler down, despite him probably having an edge to this point, just career number wise.
Yeah.
The fact that he left town and became disassociated with the Blazers after that, it makes it what you think about him less than what he should be.
Yeah.
If you're just thinking about his playing career, I grew up, I was like, a teenager in the 2 finals years with Drexler and Porter and all those guys. That was my jam. I love Drexler. He was my guy. And then it's hurt me ever since then that he's had nothing to do really with the Blazers organization.
I know.
So
for me,
it
was kind of like, Brandon Roy was kind of like that as well, because Brandon Roy was my guy growing up, and he ended up, he doesn't give a crap about Portland. He's a Seattle guy, so.
Yeah, I would say Dame definitely has a chance of getting there. A couple more seasons getting as far as he did last year without as much talent as Drexler had on his teams would certainly go a long ways to cementing himself that way. Obviously, if he won a ring after all he's accomplished so far.
I think even if he made an NBA Finals, in my opinion, because he's going to keep, fingers crossed, knock on wood, you never know. But with his work ethic and his health, again, knock on wood, he's going to keep playing like this for the next few seasons. And if he's able to make an NBA Finals on top of the production that he's putting up, I think he'd have to become the best Blazer of all time.
Yeah, because Drexler made it to the finals with the Blazers twice. Yeah. But if Dame does it with a less talented roster, I think you gotta put him ahead of Drexler if he gets to the finals. If he doesn't ever get further than he got last year, then it's going to be debatable.
Yeah, but it'll be a bit of a toss-up.
If he stays here his whole career, puts up solid numbers till the end, stays in the community afterwards, he's going to be beloved, and he'll probably go down as the best player regardless of if he wins it or not.
I mean, you also have to consider the impact he has on other players, not just on the court. Like, I feel like Yusuf Nurkic wouldn't have become the player he became if it wasn't for having a mentor like Damian Lillard. So, it's easy to quantify greatness in terms of stats and in terms of what they look like on the court. But the impact Dame has on the entire organization, if you're defining the greatest players there ever by having the most positive impact on the Blazers organization, you have to consider the impact Damian Lillard has as a leader, as the face of the franchise, the things he does in the community, the tone he sets with his very hard work ethic. I definitely think you have to consider that. It's just hard to quantify.
So the second part of that question was, do you think Gary Trent is going to have a role this season or have an opportunity to do so?
I think he'll be like Jake Layman was the second season. He might see, a spare minute here or there, but I don't think he'll end up playing unless Portland ends up having some injuries. Now, that's definitely very possible. I don't know if they'd go with Nasir Little or Gary Trent Jr. first. I assume they'd go with Gary Trent Jr. because he has more tenure here as a Blazer. But if the Blazers have good health this season, I don't think he'll end up getting a chance.
Yeah, the only thing is if the second unit's lacking some shooting, since Hazonia hasn't been a great shooter in the past, if Trent can come in and shoot the lights out, he might eventually take the nod over. But I think they're planning on using Hazonia as more of a ball handler type in the second unit. So I don't think he's going to get a chance between Simons, Bazemore, and Hazonia off the bat at least to get minutes. So he'll have to earn them somehow by coming in and shooting the lights out. But he hasn't really shot extremely well in NBA games so far. He's tore up the G League. He's tore up the G League when he's played down there. He's shot really well down there, but it hasn't translated to the NBA yet. So hopefully, if he gets some time, he hits some threes.
Didn't Caleb Swanigan tear up the G League?
That's debatable, but yeah,
Debatable.
He did pretty well, but
that stretch he had was insane, though. Like, I don't know if there's been a better stretch of play from a G Leaguer than what Gary Trent Jr. did last year. Because wasn't he averaging like 33 points per game over a 7-game stretch, and he had like 1-2 game winners? Like, he was insane, but he has supreme confidence, so I think he was just very hot. And with his confidence, when you are able to get hot like that as a shooter, you can put up huge numbers.
What's weird is it hasn't, like I said, it hasn't translated to actual games that matter, though.
Yeah, I think it's just harder to get shots off. You have to shoot a little bit quicker. I feel like when he has played against NBA caliber competition, he's kind of rushed his shots. He just hasn't had the same level of confidence, because I feel like when he went down to the G League, he was like, oh, I'm better than all these guys. So he played with a ton of confidence, and it showed. I think at the NBA level, he knows that he's just another fringe rotation player, maybe a fringe roster player.
Yeah.
And therefore he doesn't play with the same level of confidence, and that's why he doesn't hit as many shots.
What's weird is I think Olshey traded for him because he seemed like one of the most ready players in that draft, despite being the same age practically as Simons.
Yeah.
Even in Summer League, he hasn't performed great. He had that like one great game, I think.
Yeah, he has games where he hits shots.
But then he just was complete dud the rest of the games, pretty much.
Yeah, and another thing with him is he needs to show that he's able to take the right shots and play off of guys like Dame, CJ, even Anthony Simons if Anthony breaks out this season. And in Summer League, he didn't really showcase that. There was a game where Anthony was on fire, and Gary Trent Jr. still made sure he got just as many shots as Anthony Simons. There was multiple times where Anthony Simons was wide open in transition. It wouldn't have been a hard pass at all, and Gary Trent Jr. decided to call his own number. Like me, when I play in Rec League, I know it's just a Rec League, but if one of my teammates is hot, I'm trying to set them up with more shots. If somebody hits 2 threes in a row, I'm trying to get them a third three. So I'll bring the ball up. I'll tell the guy who threw the ball in, I'll tell him to go set that guy a down screen so we can maybe get him a third three in a row. So therefore, it was very frustrating for me during Summer League to see Anthony Simons wide open when he's absolutely on fire, and Gary Trent Jr. ignore him so Gary Trent Jr. can shoot a contested three. And I honestly think the coaching staff probably noticed that, and if he's going to be playing like that, I don't think he'll end up getting a chance.
The only thing you can say to that is Summer League, pretty much everyone's like that. It's just hard when there's a team like the Blazers where they had a cast that was probably going to make the roster.
Yeah.
And then, so you want to play more together, knowing, because Gary Trent wasn't going to get cut off this team.
Oh, yeah, so he didn't need to force
he doesn't
a bunch of
need
shots.
to, like,
he didn't need to
prove
drop 30.
anything. Yeah. Just probably a case of him trying to impress to get an opportunity this season, knowing that he's going to have to do something. And then he presses too hard, and then...
Yeah, I mean, if I was the coaching staff going into Summer League, I would have told him, you know what, we know you can get hot and hit shots. Show us that you know how to play the right way. Show us that you can play a productive style of ball when your shots aren't necessarily falling at a high clip. That's what I would have said to him going into Summer League. And if that is what the coaching staff said, then honestly, I think he kind of failed that test. And I think that might affect him this upcoming season. If the coaching staff didn't say that, then I'm wondering why the coaching staff didn't say that to him.
Right.
So anyway, that wraps up this mailbag. Thank you guys for your questions. Remember to leave questions in the comment section below, and I'll answer them next week. I might even answer them with Eric, who knows.
Thanks for letting me do this with you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. So anyway, that's a wrap for this video. We're signing off. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later. Hit him with the sign off. You know sign off?
I know. Peace out. Go Blazers. I don't like saying your thing.
Bro, that's the channel's thing.
I know. Peace out. Go Blazers.